What's going on, everyone? It's your boy Ethan. Hope you're having a great day. Before we get into this cash game video, because I know how much everyone loves cash games, I was back home for a little bit and I got a session at the Boston Billiards. I want to give a huge shout out to 10 lucky people who made me $10,000 poorer. But all of you guys are $1,000 richer, and these are the golden ticket winners from 1st to 10th. Big shout out to Amit, Nate, Christian, Hayden, Wesley, Daniel, Kevin, Robert, Anthony, and last but not least, Connor. Thank you for sending all of these beautiful selfies that you see on screen. Big thank you to everyone who purchased the mystery luck boxes, and it was a great time to just kind of see all these beautiful faces in selfies and add them to the vlog. If I see you in a casino wearing a luck box or any sort of merch that I've got, happy to take a picture with you and post it on my Instagram, because it means a lot to see the support and see you guys rocking the merch. And it honestly, a little overwhelming to how much support I received in this drop. So thank you so much for all the support. And this time I've delivered a cash game video. It's a higher stakes one. You're gonna like it. Let's get into the tape. I get a lot of DMs, people asking me like, hey, why don't you go to Boston Billiards anymore? That's why. Hour-and-a-half drive. Oh, look, we're just already stuck in traffic. Anyways, that's the reason why I haven't played in the New Hampshire poker scene for a while. Takes forever. So I'm gonna get through this traffic. I'm gonna hop into the streets. But before that, you see how long the drive is. Hit that like button and subscribe. That will make the drive just a little bit better, knowing that this video will get a lot of likes. So that'd be cool. We're gonna hop in there. I don't know what games we're gonna be playing. There's definitely a 2-5 playing. Maybe we'll try to hop into a 5-10 or start one. But yeah, let's just see. ETA says 4:15. Let's see if it actually happens. Let's see. After some long Boston traffic, we get seated into the 5-10 game, starting with $1,000. One of the first hands, picking up Jack-10 offsuit on the button with the straddle on under the gun. There's an open limp from the hijack player, and here, now trying to isolate, I raise it up to $80, and this limper makes the call. So going to a flop of Ace-10, 8-2 diamonds. He checks it over to me, and sure, definitely can bet with my pair, but in this specific hand, I decided to check back with just middle pair. Going to a turn which comes the 5 of spades, bringing in 2 flush draws on the board now. This player now decides to fire out $150, close to the size of the pot. Seems like I have a pretty clear call as played. I feel like most of his hands that want to bet this large are either ace highs or just a bunch of draws. So I make the call, and let's see a river, which comes a complete brick 5 of clubs. Thinking that I'll have to call a river bet no matter what he does. But good news, he checks, and I'm happy to check back, not thinking I can get value from worse. And he says he missed his draw, shows 6-7 of clubs, and I'm going to take down the first pot of the night. The straddle is going to be on for the majority of the night, and this hand is no different. With ace-queen offsuit in the cutoff, there's a middle position player who limps, and I raise to 80. Then the player to my left on the button 3-bets to 260. It folds to me and potentially could just 4-bet a lot of the time here, given the position configuration. But I decided to just make the call, and we're going to see a pot brewing here. The flop comes 6-4 deuce rainbow, just complete brick. I check it, not really hitting anything, and he bets out $350. Pretty much expecting him to size up a little bit here on this flop, and all I really beat are suited connectors that he can bet this large with. Sitting with ace high out of position, not really loving the spot, and probably can just find a better one later on this session since it's so early. But I'm here to gamble. I make the call. The turn comes the 4 of diamonds, brings in 2 diamonds on the board, and I check. He goes all in with like $1,000 covering my stack. And yeah, put myself in a pretty bad situation. Ace high can never really call down here. Certainly have a lot of pocket pairs and some good ones at that. So I fold. If he's bluffing to him, good for you, well played. But I lose a pretty big pot to start off this game. All right, this time we actually pick up a pair. I have pocket 6s in the hijack with the straddle on, and I raise it up to $50. Only get the big blind and straddler to call, so 3 ways in position. And the flop doesn't look too bad in ace 4-5 2 clubs. Action checks to me, and this is definitely a spot where I can bet with pocket 6s. Honestly, not a lot of turn cards that I want to see, so could have bet for value, but I check back. The turn comes the 5 of diamonds now. Another extremely wet card. Middle card is paired, 2 flush draws on the board, and the big blind bets out $50. When the under the gun player folds, I am not going anywhere at all here. have pocket sixes. Definitely could either be ahead here or spike a 6. We make the call and see the river, which is the 3 of clubs. Once again, the big blind bets out $75. Pretty small bet now, considering the size of the pots, and I'm just not sure what I'm supposed to do here. I lose to an ace, I lose to flushes, I lose to a 5. But the only relevant thing is that I have 2 6s, which blocks a few straights now. It's just $75 with $250 in the middle, so folding is boring. Screw it. I make the call, and he shows me pocket deuces for a straight. Not going well here. If you want to keep the tally, I've now lost 2 pots, and I've only won 1. All right, it's time to start winning some hands, I think, and this hand with ace-10 offsuit on the button, there's a straddle on board and an early position raised to $60. Here onto me, considering I'm offsuit, I kind of want to try to take down the pot pre-flop right now, so I go for it. I decide to 3-bet to 180. Honestly, I think my life would be much easier if everyone folded. I take down $60, but that wouldn't be too interesting to talk about, wouldn't it? The early position player makes the call, and we're going to battle it out in a 3-bet pot here. The flop comes 10-9-6, 2 spades. He starts with a check and definitely can 3-bet strong hands on this board. I decide to size up to $250. Not super afraid of flush draws at the moment since I have the ace of spades, but for $250, he decides on a call. And when the turn comes a complete brick, deuce of clubs, he checks for a second time, and we're both playing extremely deep. Deep enough where I can bet huge and potentially even go for a river shove for value if things work out. So thinking that I want to get stacks in, or actually if I bet big and he raises, then I'll easily fold, I decide to go for around a pot-sized bet of $850. Now, with this bet, he goes deep into the tank and thinks about this situation for a long time. Ultimately ends up making the fold, but saying that he's basically putting me on overpairs, and actually said out loud that I would never play ace-10 this way. It seems like ace-10 was definitely still ahead. He definitely wouldn't have folded any overpairs, but no more value for us in this hand. At least now I've won 2 hands and lost 2 hands, but this time I pick up queens on the button. There's a straddle on again, and I don't think I can lose this one, right? Action folds to me, and I put in a raise to $60. Small blind, he's a big stack. He wants to put more money in the middle. He 3-bets to $260. The big blind and under the gun player fold to me, and I think this is a great spot to pump more money in the middle. I have a very disguised strong hand. I'm on the button, so I could be raising a lot of garbage, and this time I put in that good old 4-bet. Bump up the sizing to $625, and this player goes into the tank. All right, counting out his decision, he's thinking about it, and it seems like folding isn't an option when he opts for an all-in. A total of $3,033, and oh boy. Given that I think aces and kings wouldn't really be going all in for over 150 big blinds, I'm way too strong to fold. Let's go play a $6,000 pot with queens. I make the call. This player asks to run it twice, and I'm always in to run it however many times the opponent wants to. We're going to the first run out, which comes Jack 10-10 high on the flop. Not loving it, but I backdoor into a straight, which is awesome, as I just show it immediately. But upon me showing it, he says he has the nut flush. No. Now pretty obvious he has ace-king of clubs, and just got to fade an ace on the second board, which comes ace-high. I'm dead, basically. He shows over, ace-king of clubs. I lose both runouts, and lose the flip twice. I pay him $3,000, and this one was pretty rough. This one hurt a good amount, unfortunately, and this is going to be hard to claw back from after this debacle. As much as big pocket pairs has failed me, this hand, the natural 4-5 of hearts on the button, hopefully you don't fail me here. I raised up to $50, folds around to the straddler, who puts in a 3-bet to $250. I have a pretty good hand to play post-flop with, so I make the call and see a flop of queen 6-3, 2 clubs. He surprisingly checks it over to me, and playing in position, I definitely have the open-ended straight draw, so let's try to build a pot here as well. I put in a bet out for $180.
And did I say he also wants to build a pot? He actually ends up check raising to 425. Pretty weird spot, and I'm open-ended. I'm definitely not going anywhere, that's for sure. If I bink the nuts trying to get stacks in, I make the call, and the turn is the 10 of clubs. Not amazing. Breakout on the straight draw, and the flush draw does get there. He checks it over to me once again, and I'm not falling for the bait this time. Happy to just check back. Going to a river now, which comes the ace of diamonds. Okay, sitting with 5 high, not amazing, and this player bets out 200. Well, sitting with 5 high, I don't think I'm going to be calling, all right? Going to be perfectly clear. Sitting with the absolute nut low. Or the other option would be an all-in. And you know how much I love to push that all-in button. Just kidding, guys. I don't do it. I fold, I let it go, and I'm just getting absolutely whacked now in this session. In the next hand, I pick up pocket queens once again, trying to rebound from, losing the last 2 hands. I'm on the button with an undergun raise to $60. The hijack makes the call, and it's my turn once again to bump up the action. I decided to 3-bet this time, 5x the raise of the pot to $300. Action folds to this pre-flop raiser under the gun, and he decides to push all of his chips into the middle, facing another all-in jam pre-flop with queens. This time it's about $1,500 to $1,600 total. Now, when the hijack ends up folding, I announce that I have the same hand as the last big hand. And if I'm going to call $3,000 with queens, I better call $1,500, right? I stick it in there, and he also announces he has the same hand. He has ace king. And when the flop comes queen high, thank God, it's a lock to win. A little salt in the wound when this player goes runner, runner, 2 pair. Such a sick board, but it's nice to win this one. A little bit of a rebound from the bigger flip I lost, so at least we're on the right direction. This next hand we are taking straight into the streets. I pick up Jack 6 of diamonds with the undergun straddle on. Cutoff raises to $60 and action folds to me to close things out as the straddler. With 2 suited cards, I'm in here to battle. Let's make a call and see a flop. The flop comes 7-7 deuce, 2 hearts, and a diamond. Not a whole lot going on for me besides backdoor diamonds or backdoor straight draws. Action goes check, check, and the turn comes the 4 of spades. Action goes check, check once again, and you're probably asking yourself, why is this an interesting hand that you're talking about, man? Well, you're going to find out when the river is a board pairing 4. Hearts get there, double paired board, and I decide to bluff at this one now. Having absolutely nothing, I feel like this player also has nothing. I decided to overbet the pot to $200. Basically, just knowing that Jack High is never going to be good, and I'm just trying to fold out some worse Ace High or King High holdings. But then, he decides to min raise to $400. I'm certainly not thinking that this play is making any sense at this point, facing a min raise, having so much passive action on the flop and turn. He's basically saying he has a flush or a 4 of some kind. And I saw this player 3-bet the flop with just 1 pair one time. So it seems like he's very capable of making very thin raises. And when that's the case, I think I can apply a lot of pressure by bluffing and going over the top. I'm sitting with Jack High, obviously. I have nothing. But I also just can't imagine him to have a 7 here either. And if he doesn't have a 4, any other holding is put into a terrible spot when I eventually put the all in. I raise up to $1,500, which covers the stack by a little bit, and this player goes into the tank now. I'm just staring at the board. A few minutes go by, and all I'm thinking about is how this night has not gone my way at all, and having this bluff get through would be massive and huge for morale. Then he calls. Shit. I show the Jack High absolutely nothing, and he somehow shows the Queen 10 of hearts. Calls me down with a flush. Thought that would probably fold, but probably not to the Rampunts. Nice call by this guy, and stuck piles again. All right, I am down several thousands of dollars, and this hand, I need to make this up with King Queen of hearts in the cutoff. Obviously, straddles on again. Flared my right, raises it up to $40, a min raise. Yeah, that's not going to fly on this table. I decide to 3-bet to 120 to isolate. And when everyone folds, the player right makes the call. So let's battle out to a flop of Jack 10, 6 rainbow. Okay, a nut draw once again. Can I hit it? He checks it over to me, and I fire out $150. A little bit big in hindsight, but whatever. Anyways, for 150, he makes the call. So the turn comes the 9 of clubs. pink! Finally! Holy crap. I've been getting buried all night long, and I'm finally sitting with the nuts in a 3-bet pot and against someone who has a lot of chips. This is exactly what the dreams are made of, and when he checks it over to me, I size up to $425. Really sizing up in this spot and just trying to find a way to get stacks in, and when he thinks about it and ends up making the call, this is huge. We know we have the winning hand, and a big pot is brewing here. We're going to a river, which comes a brick 5. Oh my God, this is the dream. Let's see if this player can call a massive all-in, because I have the nuts and I'm gonna need to make some money back after all these punts. He checks it over to me, and this player is about $1,500 deep. Yeah, I am going to go all in. Put his $1,500 into the middle, trying to commit his entire stack, and this player thinks for a long time. All I'm thinking in my head is, please call, because this night has really sucked, and I've seen this player be sticky with some really bad hands. Anyways, he folds. Sad. Not much going well here, although I can't complain about finally winning a pot and hitting the nuts. It's still good for morale, and thought he would be a little bit stickier than he was in this hand, but I'll take the pot. And moving on to the next hand with a better hand, Ace Queen of Hearts in +2 with the straddle on. +1 raises it up to $50, and I have a good hand in position of this guy. I decide to 3-bet to 175, and then, the cutoff now puts in a 4-bet to $425. After one easy hand, everything else is going to be a complete battle today. Action folds around to me, and playing with about $1,500 behind effective against this opponent. I have a very playable hand and happy to see a flop with. I will say though, offsuit, I might just have to fold this one, but not this hand. I see a flop, and the flop comes 10-9-8, 2 spades and a diamond. I check it over to this player on a flop that I think would favor me a lot, and I assume he would know that as well since he checked back. The turn comes the 7 of diamonds, so 2 flush draws, but any jack or 6 makes a straight, and I think I just have all the 2 pairs in the world, and I'm just going to bet this board so often, hoping to just take this one down with a big bet. I decide on $600, setting up a river shove here of around $1,000, and he does think about it, but is not getting away just yet. Just makes the call, and I mainly just see this player doing this with hands like jacks plus, queens, kings, maybe sometimes aces, but if he does have jacks, it would be pretty brutal. Anyways, the river comes an ace. The plan was to bluff shove the river, but I feel like this card changes a few things because I actually pick up top pair. There's a decision point to either play my exact hand, which may want to just check or get to showdown, or continue with my story and go all in. Ultimately, I ended up on the first option and check. Plays a little bit passively, he snap checks back, and I show my hand, and he's not happy when I banked the ace on the river. I'll win this one and take it down. A little suck out here, but thinking I was going to win the pot regardless. If a brick came, I'll just shove and he'll most likely fold any one pair. One of the last hands to close out the night, trying to end it off on a banger. I pick up a good one with pocket 10s on the button, straddle on of course. There's an early position raise to $50. Cutoff makes the call, and I bump up the action to $225. Surprisingly, both players call, so they're both playing pretty shallow considering the pot right now. Early position with 600, the cutoff with 1,000. Going to a flop of Jack 5-5 rainbow, and once they check it over to me, I have a decent pair. Definitely want to bet to protect my hand. I size to $175, betting pretty small and trying to not see some overcards on the river or turn. Anyways, the early position player folds quickly, and then the cutoff decides to freaking go all in for $1,000. Oh, isn't poker just fun? Pretty silly spot with pocket 10s, and it's annoying. I'll just fold and call it a day. Okay, end of the session. The casino is closed, and I am not happy. Losing that 6K pot hurt, like genuinely hurt. Like it just feels bad because I don't really play many cash games anymore. And for the people wondering, I'm not driving. I'm currently just in the parking lot. I haven't left yet. See, still there, dirty windshield, whatever. Let's go over numbers because everyone likes that. This is not a fun one. I was in the game for 5,700. Out of the game for, what is the number? 3375 or something like that. Something like that, 3375. quite the L. And yeah, I don't know. Just got whacked all night and couldn't really win many hands. And you know, hopefully enjoyed the highlights. I was trying to make a run at the end, but things didn't work out. Basically losing 3K in the queen's hand, queens versus ace king, losing 2 flips. If that didn't happen, I still would have won money tonight, which is crazy. Oh well, that's poker. Moving on. Hopefully I can win some flips in Vegas. Going to the WSOP pretty soon, so you'll have some tournament videos coming up. Thanks so much for watching. Gonna try to rebound. Let's ship a tournament, man. First WSOP, full schedule. I'm pretty hyped for it. And yeah, that's it. Hopefully for some run good. Thank you to the people who have bought a little piece of action for the summer as I sold a little bit of percentage. And let's go. WSOP videos on the way.